Today, we're going to be exposing Lecrae for who he truly is. Not gonna lie, I am a little biased, so hopefully I can be objective about this. Lecrae would definitely be in my top 5 favorite recording artists ever. His music has meant a lot to me over the years, and it's one of the things that helped build my faith stronger. So recently, I've come across all these videos saying that Lecrae is in the Illuminati and that he's not really a true Christian, that he's working for Satan, and I was like, what the heck? I understand if you don't like his music or if you don't agree with the things he teaches, but to say that someone works for Satan, that's a really extreme claim, and you better have some really good evidence to back that up. So, let's take a look at their evidence.
He has received a lot of mainstream success this year, and if we know the Word of God, we know that an enemy of God is a friend of the world.
Remember that guy in the Bible, Joseph? Remember how he was second in command, second only to Pharaoh, ruling over Egypt? Just because someone is popular or has mainstream success, that doesn't mean that they're not a Christian. Success isn't wrong. It just depends on why you got there and how you got there. If you're getting there just because you want to be popular and you want to be cool, then that's a lot different than if God granted you that opportunity so that you could share his name to everyone in the world.
I want you guys to really realize that there are no famous people that love God.
Billy Graham doesn't love God.
He's hung out with so many secular artists that it only shows who this man really is and his real plan.
Let me read something to you guys. My critics almost lost their minds when they became aware of my friendship with Kendrick Lamar. But the critics didn't know the whole story. Critics almost never do. They claimed I had been seduced by the money. They didn't know that I was actually losing money at many of these mainstream events. The Christian world paid better and treated me like royalty. But I was paying out of my pocket to fly my crew out to some of these festivals because I was serious about being salt and light in these places. The critics said I was just chasing fame by trying to become friends with famous people. But they didn't know that I was an outsider at many of these events. I wasn't sacrificing my beliefs or seeking their acceptance. I wasn't smoking weed or going to the strip clubs with everyone else. The critics claimed I was a sellout for being friends with people like Kendrick. They were mad that I didn't call him out for the profanity in his music. They didn't know that he and I were constantly dialoguing about faith. The critics hated that I was loving this community instead of attacking them. They didn't know that rappers would often come find me after a show, sometimes hide out of their minds, and ask me to help figure out what God wanted for their lives. Critics always have a lot of fury, but they rarely have a lot of facts.
You will never be able to be getting millions upon millions of views like this if you do not worship Satan himself. They sold their soul, and this is the only reason they have this type of fame and riches.
What's the number limit that suddenly makes you a Satanist? I mean, does this person have too many views to be a Christian? Does this person? What about this person?
You could actually do this, maybe go back to his old albums and count the times he said Jesus compared to the new albums. It seems that he's saying the word Jesus a little less. It seems that his music now is being made in a way that will be more palatable or desirable to the world.
Yes, you're right, that is what he's doing. Do you know why? If you're not a Christian and you want some new music, are you going to walk into Family Christian Bookstore and buy a CD? He doesn't want to make his music just for Christians because we already know God. We already know the truth. He's trying to reach the people that are lost. And by doing so, he needs to make his music something that they can relate to and something that will appeal to them because there's no way they're going to listen to a song that's just a bunch of Bible verses. I think he's doing a wonderful job of appealing to them while still keeping God the central focus of his music. It's a pretty impressive talent if you think about it.
666 is here as well. It's just not very easy to see. You have a backwards 6 here. You have the word 6 right there. That's the second 6. And then actually in Roman numerals you have a 6 as well. A 1111X would actually be 6 in Roman numerals, but it would be not the correct way to write it.
You know, if you're looking that hard for Satanism, you're going to find it literally everywhere.
He makes sure the 6 is huge. It's 1 1 and then a huge 6. And notice how it's Romans. The Romans killed Jesus.
Are you serious?
The quote from Alistair Crowley actually said, whenever we speak of God, when we say God as Masons and satanic people, we mean Satan. So don't be fooled when Lecrae says God, 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 and uses the name over and over, because the Lord said many are going to worship with their lips.
So when you say God, do you really mean Satan? When my pastor says God, does he really mean Satan? When Jesus said God, did he really mean Satan?
Rehab, this album here, guys, was another form of blasphemy. As you can see,
It's a triangle made out of 3 sixes. That's exactly what this is.
Actually, no, that's not a triangle of 6s. Those are actually 3 R's, which stands for rehabilitation, restoration, and redemption. The R's are interconnected and never end, which could either represent the Trinity or the fact that our never-ending struggle in this world is ongoing. Maybe you should have looked that up before you made this video.
now you see Lecrae here doing the 666 hand sign. That's the first 6. That's the second 6. That's the third 6.
This is obviously the Illuminati eye, and to us Christians, we recognize it.
In this picture, he uses one-eye symbolism to show his one eyeball, the eye of Horus.
Just because there's an eye, that doesn't mean it's Satanism. God created eyes. We have eyes.
Lecrae and artists, they slip one eye subliminal messages into their music to show their oath to the devil. Boom, there it is. And they both have one eye symbolism. Tell the world pops up, and they both are showing one eye symbolism, guys.
Oh my gosh, so this video that clearly lays out the gospel, if you pause it just at the correct time, you can only see one of his eyes. Clearly Satanism.
He's flashing. He flashes the devil horns a lot. He also flashes the devil horns while pointing at his eye.
This also means rock on and I love you, just so you know. Also, when you're rapping, you're just, going like this. And a lot of times your hands just do this and you're not trying to.
He's also featured in a triangle in one video.
Pizza's shaped like a triangle. Is that demonic or something?
In the video sideways right there, holding up the pyramid, completely obvious.
Now, I was thinking steeple, but I guess triangles are somehow they represent some kind of secret society. So I got to talk to my kids because they've been doing a lot of geometry lately. So I wonder if the teachers are inducting them in some kind of Illuminati activity. I need to find out about this. It's getting crazy out here, man.
They decided to rebel.
So that decided to rebel, and he has his hand in a famous Masonic pyramid. He was talking about a lot of people like to rebel. All right. Now there's something called your consciousness.
You mean conscience?
And his consciousness was shook when he was talking about people that rebel from God.
There's no, it doesn't make sense.
That's the spirit of God hitting him right there, man. He can't. If he was really for God, I mean, he can't even really spit the words out when he's talking about rebelling against God.
If I was as nitpicky as you, I bet I could easily find the same amount of things in your videos that show that you're in the Illuminati.
God has a dress code for his people.
Really? Do you mind giving me a scripture reference for that?
Here, he is seen putting this as his church clothes, alright? And on the belt has 116. There it is, the 6.
The point of church clothes was to reach out to all the unchurched, lost people in the world, and it was trying to make the point that God will take you as you are, and that you don't have to clean yourself up before you come to him.
What Lecrae is doing, it's called holy hip-hop, and that's the first thing I'm concerned about. How can something that is unholy be holy? Hip-hop is in fact a religion. Hip-hop is not just a music genre or some other kind of art form. It is the name and divine nature, our creative force of our present lifestyle. Hip-hop is the name of our ritual. It is the utterance of our being and collective consciousness. This is absolutely satanic. It is a false spiritual system.
There's a lot of weird people out there that refer to whatever they're doing as like some religious experience. I know people say that about any type of art form because they're trying to be artsy. I've heard people say that about dance before. I've heard people say that about singing before. People say that about a lot of things. If you have a biblical worldview, you understand that there's not Christian things and secular things. There's just this world that God made. There's not Christian music and secular music. There's just music. And when you make music, you can choose what you make it about. You can take that music and make it about God, or you can make it about something sinful, or you can just make it about food. It's not sinful to sing about something that's not about God, as long as it's not about a sinful thing. Otherwise, Happy Birthday, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, Old MacDonald, those would all be sinful songs.
Illuminate, right? You see the light that burns inside, which is basically, this inner light, which is sort of a new age concept, because you were born to illuminate, right?
The light that burns inside is referring to the fact that we're supposed to be the light of the world.
Is Lecrae part of the Illuminati? I personally don't believe so.
Okay, if you don't believe so, then why on earth would you make a video like this? Accusing someone of following Satan is a huge deal, and for you to just throw that out there nonchalantly, even though you don't believe it, is horrible, because now you're making all these people have a horrible image of someone, and it might not even be true. Of course, Lecrae isn't perfect, and I'm not trying to say that he is. He's said a couple things before that I don't really agree with, but to say that he is part of the Illuminati is just really messed up. If you're going to make a claim like that, I think you really need to do some research, maybe, read this book. I'll admit that I used to be really disappointed in Lecrae because I didn't understand what he was doing. I just saw all these blogs saying that he was, watering down his message, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's horrible. And, I saw church clothes and I'm turned, and I was like, oh, what the heck is this? And I saw he got signed with Columbia Records, which is a secular record company, and everyone was getting all mad, and I was like, wow, maybe Lecrae is selling out. But then I decided to read this book, and it explains everything, and it makes so much more sense. He realized that the whole gospel rapping thing was only reaching the churchy demographic, and that's not really who we're called to reach. We're supposed to reach the unreached, and Christians everywhere, the people that were supposed to be supporting him, were losing their minds.
If you still don't get this, and you feel like he's such a good artist, you're in that 2/3 that doesn't get it and will most likely be put to death.
Well, it looks like I'm about to be put to death, so I guess I gotta go. Bye!